Hello and welcome to Bangladesh Today. I am Smita Prakash. Bangladesh's economy has managed to remain stable and on track despite the political upheaval and protests by the opposition. It is now targeting an extreme poverty-free country status by 2021. To discuss this and more, we have with us Akash Jindal, an expert on economy and markets. Welcome to the show, Mr. Jindal. Mr. Jindal, my first question to you is that, the IMF's executive director, he says that Bangladesh has managed to bring inflation under control. Now, the usual view, the Western view at least, or perception about Bangladesh is that it's a basket case country. Now, how did Bangladesh manage to rise above that and come to a position where inflation is under control or almost under control?
See, things are changing. Now it's not the same case as of now. Earlier, if you talk about 70s, yes, it was a new country. They had got independence. They had a huge expenditure as far as war was concerned. That was a dent on the economy. Then you had a famine. Then you had political instability. So if you talk about that particular era, I think yes, Bangladesh was not an economy which could be called as an economy on the proper track. But now things are changing. Exports are there, GDP growth is there, current account surplus is there. So if you ask me, my view would be that yes, they are going towards reducing inflation. We can't say that inflation has been totally eradicated. It can't be, but yes, inflation control, inflation has been capped up to a certain extent. But let me tell you one more thing. When you talk about the entire thing in an international perspective, there is lot good which can happen to Bangladesh. I mean, there's a lot of potential in that country which has not been realized. So according to me, from the status it was earlier, they have progressed, and from here on they can grow a lot. In case you have a positive vision, in case the things are approached properly, lots and lots of things could be done.
How important is political stability in bringing inflation under control and for growth?
I think it's the most important thing. Not only for Bangladesh, but for any country in the world, political stability is very important. Because see, it's the politicians who make the policies. Now, in case policies are there for a particular period of time, 4 years, 5 years, and in case political stability is there, those policies could be implemented. Now, in case political instability is there, firstly, there wouldn't be any firm policies, there wouldn't be any consistency in the policies, policies would keep on changing. And then again, if instability is there, politicians wouldn't be in a position to take strong decisions and to implement those decisions. Having political stability, you could take decisions, and that is what is required in Bangladesh. Because if you see the economy, there could be things which could be done where poverty as well as inflation could be reduced. I know there are cases of extreme poverty there, but poverty reduction could be there. Now, if you ask me to elaborate, I think there are 3-4 needs. Things I'll tell about those things, then further we can elaborate in further discussions. One is infrastructure growth. Secondly, automation of agriculture, which Bangladesh actually needs. Thirdly, more penetration of exports. Fourthly, industry. In case work is done on 4 things, I think poverty alleviation up to a lot extent could be achievable.
Now, they're saying 2.5 crores is the figure that's available about extreme poverty families. That's a large number. Now, to bring them into the development process, that requires huge amounts of funds as well as a program which is like on track and will not get off track regardless of which government comes to power. You know, like otherwise by 2021 they're not going to be able to achieve it. So is it possible to achieve that much, like such a huge number to be brought out of poverty, extreme poverty?
See, the way you have put things, I'll put the second thing first. In case you have a government which is stable, which is on track, then money could be sourced. Because money could be sourced from international agencies, international money could come, but for all that, you need to have things which are on track, which are consistent. I'll give you an example how this could be done. Firstly, infrastructure. There is lot which could be done for infrastructure in Bangladesh and which needs to be done. Now, road connectivity of Dhaka and other cities, rail connectivity, air connectivity, then you have a coastline also, connectivity, electricity supply, these things needs to be done. Political will is required, implementation has to be done, again funds are required. But if this is done, firstly, if this is done, inflation would be reduced, because the moment things get supplied from one place to another place quickly, without any damage, without any destruction. And when there is connectivity, inflation automatically gets reduced. If inflation gets reduced, GDP gets increased, because the moment there's more connectivity, the moment there are more exports, people would have more employment, more livelihood. It means more money in people's pockets, earning power increases, and their expenditures, they decrease. So it's simple. If your earning power is increasing, expenditure has decreased, it means you have money to buy food, shelter and clothing for yourself. So it means you can come out of poverty.
Extreme poverty.
Then again what happens is, it's a cyclical thing. Now what happens is, as of now, exports.
Can I just interrupt you for a moment? There are lots of people who think that, giving out doles is one way. Now you're telling me that's not the way, that's probably not the way, but it's infrastructure development and all that you're talking about. So is it, tell me, where is the contradiction, this dole and handing out subsidies, or is it infrastructure development and the funds and all that you've been talking? Can they both go simultaneously?
First part I'll answer that way. If you talk me about the classic economic thing about giving out doles or increasing the economy in a different manner, I'll use a simple English proverb. There's an English proverb that in case a boy wants to have fish daily, there's one thing, so you have answered. Either you give him a fish or you teach him to fish. So I think doles could be something which could be as a stopgap thing. In case there's any problem, any urgency somewhere in any part of the world, doles could be given.
But the reason is because Bangladesh for a long time depended on doles, simply because of the famines and the extreme poverty out there. That's why I'm saying they've moved away from that, and that's what you were explaining. Go ahead.
Yeah. So now I think doles could be up to a certain extent, but the base, if you tell me that how could poverty be elevated, the formula, the mantra for that wouldn't be giving out doles. Because who is giving out doles? The government is giving you money. Whose money is with the government? It's your own money. You mobilize your money, give to the government. Government is giving back to you. So ultimately there is no increment. There is no increment in the economy. Your money is coming back to you in the way of doles. Whatever you paid as taxes is coming back to you.
But also, when we talk about infrastructure development in Bangladesh, media reports and experts say that corruption is endemic in the country, and that's the reason why whenever you talk about infrastructure development, when you're talking about roads, bridges, it just doesn't get done in the pace that it should because of corruption. How is the government supposed to handle this? I mean, this is her second term in office, Sheikh Hasina's second term in office. Should she make this as her priority, absolute priority, to get infrastructure going, to get development going, and to rid the country of corruption?
If there could be an English term better than immediate priority, absolute priority, I would have used that. I totally endorse you, T2T, on that. Yes, corruption should be eradicated, because what happens is, I just explained that you have to have good plans and you need to execute that. So now, in case you make good plans, but while implementing, while executing, and you very rightly said, infrastructure implementation has to be done at the ground level. Now, in case very good planning is being done, everything is being planned on, but while implementation is not being done, infrastructure is a system. In case you don't even implement some of the systems, I'll give you an example of a 1000 kilometer road. Now, in case you have not done 50 kilometers, or a bridge needs to be done, which is not being done, or corruption is being there, so what would happen? The entire 1000 kilometer, not only that, but the entire economy of the country would suffer because of that. I think if corruption needs to be eradicated, it needs to be targeted, and that could also do a lot benefit, because implementation is something which would be done in case you have a corruption free thing. And I think it should be monitored, it should be done, it should maybe reach the conclusion, the logical conclusion should be there, then only things would get moving, of course.
If we were to compare it with, say, Pakistan, in this region, if we were to compare it, Pakistan's also had kind of political stability. One government finished its full term, the next government has come. But why is it that they are not able to get grips on their economy, whereas Bangladesh, which was a basket case economy as it was termed, is now being talked about as a middle income country? How did that happen? Why is there a problem between the two countries?
If you talk about Pakistan, so let's analyze Pakistan's economy. Pakistan, I would say, they have not paid the due focus which should have been on the economy. see, they have different regimes. Now, there was a regime which came and they nationalized almost everything. After that, after a huge gap, there was a regime, there's a power which came. Then they said everything needs to be privatized. Now, you from a private sector, you nationalize everything. All of a sudden, you privatize everything. That is not the way economies can function. I'll give you an example of our country, India. I mean, with due regards to other countries also, we also had lot of nationalization. We had privatization also.
Yeah, but mixed economy for a long, long time.
We have been a mixed economy. So in a mixed economy also, we tried liberalization. We did liberalize and we got the benefits also. Because our culture, our economy, our people were used to both sorts of economy, PSU as well as private sector. So when we tried privatization, we were sort of used to it. We could understand it. We could absorb it. We already had our Indian entrepreneur, we had multinationals, so we were sort of in a position. If all of a sudden you change the economy, those things generally are not workable.
So that's what went wrong with Pakistan.
Yeah. So I think that is something which.
How should Bangladesh go about it? Should they also just mirror the way India did it, or should they liberalize at a faster pace, because they really don't have the time with such a huge population in extreme poverty conditions? Should they go for liberalization immediately, go the South Korea way? How should they go about it?
They should liberalize, firstly, I would say. But liberalizing in which way? See, I think as of now, they need foreign funds. That is required, because when we are talking about infrastructure is an area where lots and lots of funds are required, which have to be foreign funds. As of now, the country is not in that position. So definitely they need foreign funds. But again, I think stepwise and stage-wise, they should liberalize the economy. As far as their own entrepreneurs are concerned, as well as foreigners are concerned, they should have cap for foreigners. I wouldn't suggest them to give 100% equity to foreigners in all areas. Some areas they should see, according to case-wise, they say.
What about government exports? I mean, that's a major chunk of their exports and a major chunk of, where their focus is. What about that? Should they give complete control, hand it over to foreign capital, foreign investors?
I'll give you a typical Vyapari answer. The typical Vyapari answer would be, they should see which are the export areas in case they are handed over to foreigners where they can excel, and which are the areas which in case they stay with them, they can continue benefiting. Because ultimately, see, I would say sweeping decision for the entire thing wouldn't work. Sweeping decision in case other countries have also taken, you were giving examples of other countries, sweeping decisions don't work. So you have to analyze which are the areas where foreigners, in case they come with capital, you need their capital, plus they can add value, they can add some technology and expertise. In case you have an area where already you have technology, expertise and capital is not required, or you are getting money from your buyers, so I don't think there they should allow. So they should see what suits their economy. I mean, there's a temptation.
Knowledge-based industries, has that worked well with, say, India?
Knowledge-based industry, they have worked a lot well with us. BPO. See, if you talk to people in US and Europe, I mean, our BPOs, see,
they worked well in India, so there's no reason why it shouldn't work in Bangladesh also, right?
It should, and it should. Why so? Because they have talented human manpower, and in case those people are educated properly, so, and the manpower is not there, is not that costly. We are already talking about poverty.
Yes.
So in case they are trained, educated properly, they could get into all these things. BPO and all those things could be done very well. And they could, improve that way. They could export to US, Europe. See, now US for sure is improving. There's clearly growth in US. Europe is also, up to a certain extent, I would say, on a recovery path. Japan is recovering. So I think knowledge-based export, like BPO exports, could be increased. So US, Europe, there are many customers which could be there, and Bangladesh has got talented human manpower. They just need to be guided, educated in a proper way. That's what is required.
Thank you very much for speaking with us. Thank you for watching this edition of Bangladesh Today. We shall be back next week.